Kia ora relations! Yay! Wow, honestly, tonight I have had this message, kōrero, convo, sitting around me for the last few days, and I have been so excited to just finally be here to let it out. No doubt it's going to be for one, two, many, all of yous tonight, but I'm so excited about it. Kia ora Amber, hi, how are you doing, doll? Hi Tanya, kia ora Nahoya, kia ora Whaia Granoi, kia ora Jen Jens, hi sis, sending you loads of love, darling. Kia ora, kia ora, Auntie Mitz, hey Nikki, hey Auntie Cam, kia ora Cassie. Well, first of all, before we get to our karakia, there was a song that I played earlier last week, and I want to sing it again because I just love it. But I'm actually just going to sing it because I've got no sounds tonight because the phone's flat that I usually play the sounds off. So, you know, some realness is coming in. And it is, I know I've been changed to old praise, so it's going to go like this. And I'm just going to sing us a while until everybody gets on, and then we can get into our kōrero, alright? Right, let's hit it. Kia ora calling. Hi dolls. Alright. I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. You know I know I've been changed. You see the angels in heaven done sign my name. Well, if you don't believe that I've been redeemed, you see the angels in heaven done signed my name. Well, stepped in the water, and the water was cold. You see the angels in heaven done signed my name. Well, it chilled my body, but not my soul. You see the angels in heaven done signed my name. Oh, I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. You know I know I've been changed. You see the angels in heaven done sign my name. Yes, relations. Woo! Kia ora Cassie, kia ora Tanya, kia ora Tina, hi relation. Yes, welcome back tonight. Honestly, it has been absolutely crazy. I've had this whole conversation going on, and it's yes, I'd say it's yes. I've had this whole conversation though going on, and I've been wanting to talk about it because I get asked about it quite a lot, especially when it comes to spirituality. This was your guys' favourite topic of choice. So I just want to mihi out to everybody for that. Thank you guys. And we're going to get into that. We're going to start talking about spirit tonight, girl. And I've really had to sit back and try and find a way to explain my perception of spirituality. So I want to start off with, first of all, being in a place to perceive spirituality. And I think it goes down to value as well, because lots of people, you know, have these thoughts and stuff that come into their minds about not being good enough, and that, you know, the whole situation around being in spirit, you know, to some people can look like sort of heebie-jeebie stuff, or that's not real, it's fake, you know, you're making it up, but, you know, go you. But there is actually a way to connect and to like literally connect yourself. And so I want to explain it. Now, the first thing that I want to go to is value, darlings. Value. What is value when it comes to a person? How do you measure that? How do you measure that scale of value on a person? And it's really quite simple. Value has absolutely nothing to do with what you own, what you have, what you've built. Real value relations is actually based on what you can do without. Yeah, let that marinate for a second there, relations. Real value is determined by what you can go without, how much you can go without. How functional are you on nothing? That is where real value comes from. That's the scale. How functional are you in the world on nothing? And how low can you go? How really low can you go? And how deep can you go? So that's, that's the basis of where I'm wanting to go with tonight in our kōrero. But before we go any further, we're going to start off with our karakia. Tui a te wairua, tui a te tinana, kia hono te herenga tangata, kia hono ki te kairua. Āmene. Yes! So value relations. How functional are you? How low can you go? How low have you been? Kia ora, Caroline, sorry. Yeah. How low can you go, girl? That's honestly the question. How low can you go? And how well did you function in that? Oh. Because it's quite an interesting thing when you look at stuff like that, because when you no longer depend on all the material things of the world that it has to offer you, or seduce you with, or entice you, you step into the world differently. You arrive in it. You don't wake up in it, you arrive. You arrive in this dimension, let's call it, or this reality. Okay? So, when you no longer rely or are dependent on the material things of the world, you desire different things. You desire invisible forces, not physical material ones. You desire invisible forces. One of them being love. We'll just go for love. Okay? Now, love. Now, if you see love, you see love. Because the thing with love is that people find it differently. Like, they're like, oh, is that love over there? Or is this over here? Or is this a bit of it over here? Or is it just starting here? If you see love, you see love. And it's all to do with perception. Right? If you see love, you see love. And I'm just going to let that marinate, relations. Right? Love it. Yes, Haromi. Enlightenment. But if you see love, you see love. You know, like you watching right now. You're watching right now. You could be love to me. Hey, and you're probably sitting there like, girl, I'm not love. Love's like way bigger than me. I'm just whoever I am. And that's in your perception. But in my perception, why can't I view you as love? Hey. I mean, how many of us really know each other, really? I mean, you could be God for all I know in my life. You could be God. It's as simple as that, because how do we know where God is, how God is, when God is? So why can't you be God? You know? So I found that to be quite a interesting whakaaro, or way of thinking. Who are we to say who anyone is? Because as you may not see yourself as that in your perception, but in mine, you are a dream character. So you could be anybody to me. You know? So I want to just drop that little whakaaro and let that marinade, relations, tonight. Sit in that for a bit, because I'm going to be hitting you with a few gems tonight. Okay, I'm going to be hitting you with a few gems tonight. That whole thing with love and a God is to do with perception. You must be able to perceive God to be able to understand or know, have a relationship or know or hear God. Okay. Now, this is open to everybody. When I'm talking about God itself, I'm not talking in it from a religious aspect. Yes, Rebecca, anybody could be God. Anyone, like anybody. You never know. No one knows where God is, how God is, why God is. Hey. So it's that. Now, anyway, it's quite interesting. This is an ancient, this comes from the ancients, this whole concept of God. And it is how everybody perceived and treated each other in the ancient times. Because no one knew who this person was. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that too. I'm going to go a little bit deeper in that. Let's just say that these people made God up, okay? Yeah, let's just say the ancients, they made this concept of God up. Why would be the question. Why would they do that? Especially because God can only exist in your perception. They did it because humanity, or humankind in its infinity, needed something to rise to. We needed something to rise. And I'll say this right now, without it feeling any heebie-jeebie or religious to anybody, if you don't have God in your life, or if you're unable to perceive what God is, you don't rise. You just don't rise. It was created to do that. And also another aspect of it is that it was designed to unite. Because if we are going to be brother and sister, we have to share a parent. God is the parent. It is the undying mother of eternity. Or father. Either one. But it unites, and it's, you know, us and the human side, the stupid, dumb human side, that the human does, is that we've taken the concept so beautiful, and it was the beginning of what was war. We've somehow turned it into something nasty. Hey. And I'm talking about on a spiritual level here. I'm not talking about religion. And I'm talking about spirituality. Thanks, Midge. Yes. But yeah, so I want to let that marinate for a second now, relations. Okay? Let that. And do you know what's funny? It's because, see, you right here. Just imagine if you knew that I thought you were God. Okay, so just take that concept. Just think that you knew that I thought you were God. There is something in you that when you stepped in front of me, you would either deny God, which would change my perspective, or you would somehow live up to what I think. And you would act accordingly. And I would treat you accordingly. You know, so it's quite interesting. It's all to do with perception, relations. It's perception. This is how powerful perception is. And that's what I wanted. That's one of the fundamental things of spirituality. And where I'm going with this whole thing. Because sharing, yeah, the only way that we unite in everything is if we can agree on that there is a God. And if we do that, then we do become brothers and sisters. And when you see war and all of that sort of stuff, when you get down to the crux of it, or the root of the whole thing, the core, they're fighting over who the parents are. Who's the rightful parent. They all are, darling. When you really get there to that level, they all are. Shit, because it's in your perception. God. Some people, honestly. Here's another little exercise I want to do with you guys tonight, okay? Now, I want to talk about connecting with spirit and being able to connect with spirit. The spirit, the being inside you. This is the immortal. And this is fact. Like, this is real deal. This isn't made up story that I found in a Harry Potter book series. This is the real deal, girl. I have finally found a way to get it out. And it's been sitting inside and I've been trying to articulate it in a way that's easy to understand. So let me just drop this little gem on you guys tonight again. Okay, now what I want you to do now, please, I was going to turn it this way, but I do know that it's spelled backwards. So that might look a little better. Okay, so we're going to take this word, right? Okay. Kairua. Okay, we'll just flip it this way, actually. You guys can know. Kairua. I want you to say that word, please. And I want you to say it in your mind. Okay, I don't want you to say it out loud. I want you to say it in your mind. Say it in your mind on the count of 3. And when you've said it, please push a number 1. Okay, just comment with a number 1 so I know when I can move on. So I want you to take that and say that out loud in your mind. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Right. So let's do that one more time. And comment with a 1. On the count of 3, say this word, kairua, in your mind. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, we see it coming up. Now, the question to ask in that, and what's just happened, the question to ask is, what voice is that? What voice just spoke? Now, you didn't move your mouth, you didn't say anything, you didn't say anything. You just heard it. Hey, you just spoke, and on top of that, you heard it. You just heard a voice speak. You heard a voice just say kairua, right? This puts another perspective on what sound is, because you just heard it. I can see it. I can see all the ones coming up. Now, how can you have heard something if there was no vibrational sound coming to the ears? Now, that's just one. Now, another one. See that? Kairua. I want you to close your eyes and see it. You'll actually probably see it better and probably the right way. Like that. See? Can you see it? How did you see it with no eyes? How did you see it with no eyes? And no, it's not the subconscious, because you're conscious of it. You're aware. But how did you see it with no eyes? So what is sight? What is actual sight? That's the question. That sight can see the past and the future. These can't. These only just see around here. No, Jacqueline, it's not subconscious. You're conscious because you're aware of it, darling. But we'll elaborate on what subconscious is, because lots of people do think that it's subconscious. It's not. You're conscious of it. You're aware of it. You know it. Yes, Tracy. Yes. Hey, you just saw though, without eyes. You just saw it. These are what you walk into the world. This is what feeds you. This is what you walk into the world with, these sort of senses. Now, when you pass away, and because this is weird, like, how can you see the past? Because you can literally see the past, right? You can literally see it. You know what you look like in your work uniform. You know what you look like with your hair tied up in a ponytail, right? If you don't have one right now. You're able to see it physically. What is that? That's the being inside relation. That's where we're wanting to connect to tonight, okay? Is getting closer and closer to that, using that beingness. Now, where I'm going with this whole thing is that when you connect with, say, kairua, we'll just use kairua as the home point for that, the anchor. When you connect back to the being, the being able to hear without sound, being able to see without eyes, these are the senses. Jackie, you're getting closer, yeah. You're getting closer to it. It's what you, when you're able to do that, when you're able to connect back to the being inside, because that's the being, eh? And we've heard this before. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. But to really get that, relations, to really, really knock that out of the park, is simply just by doing stuff like that. Is understanding and really actually being aware of who's inside. Because when you connect back to that voice, that inner voice that just spoke before, when you connect with that, now your outer voice has power. Now your outer voice has power. You're no longer a shell. You're not just an empty shell. You're a being. The being is speaking. And lots of people do things like, well, to me, I'm going to use myself. I can only use myself as the example. It's like, oh my God, you're so good at like talking to people, and you know, people listen, and it actually has nothing to do with that. When I'm here, when I arrive and show up in the world, I show up in that. In that. That's who shows up. It's not the shell, it's this. Kairua shows up. And the really interesting thing with that is that, you know, in Western theories and knowledge is that we live in a 4-dimensional world, right? And hopefully I'm not losing anyone. Stay with me, relations. We're getting there. Stay with me. We live in a 4-dimensional world. Front, back, left, right, up and down, and time. Okay. That makes up our reality. Okay? Front, back, left, right, up, down, and time. The thing that they don't tell you about, and the thing that people lack in exercising, is the in and out. The in and out. What's the in and out? Kairua. It's that. That's the in and out. Oh, I tell you honestly, when you connect to that in your inner voice, or not so, inner being, comes out through your outer voice, honestly, the universe, nature, it responds automatically. There's lots of people do things like, ask like, oh, you know, you always get what you ask for, like, how do you do that? You must be clever, or, you know, it's not that. They ask for things with their being. And nature and the universe respond to it. Just like that. And that's from the being. The being never lies. Now, it's not as simple as going, oh yes, because I'm able to do this, and oh yeah, I want $10 million. That's the brain talking there. That's not the being. Now, when I'm talking about, okay, because now that's a thought chain. That's the thoughts that are talking. And you know how we've talked about before, and you've probably heard the saying before, you are not your thoughts. Correct. Now let me break it down for you and drop another gem, relations. You are not your thoughts. Now, this is it. You are a whole conglomerate, or you're a whole mass of cells. Okay, picture this. Just picture this, okay? Imagine this. There's a little tiny organism running around doing exactly what you do. Exactly. And when these little tiny organisms get together, they make up you. The cells. You are made up of cells. Okay? Now, these are all cells. Skin cells. They're just like us. They can reproduce, they communicate, they have a purpose, they have a function, they even have waste. All of these things. And they die and they reproduce again, just like we do. This is on a cellular level. The self S-E-L-F, the self, is the consciousness of cells. That's why, and let me just break it down for you to get into understanding it, is when you're hungry, you're not the one that's hungry. Your cells are hungry. And you, when I say you, is Kairua. You're not hungry. Kairua's not hungry. The cells are hungry. When there are addictions, when people are fighting addictions, it's not them. It's not their Kairua it wants drugs or cigarettes or alcohol or sex or whatever it is, whatever the addiction is of food. It is their cells. Their cells tell them. Your cells are amazing. They communicate to you all the time. You go and put your hand on an element. Your cells tell you, quick, smartly, girl, get that hand off that element. Boom! You pull it off. And the pain is them communicating to you. Girl, we were in danger. We were getting melted. The self-thoughts are the consciousness of your cells. And it's actually quite interesting with the conversations that are going on now in that's out there, the literature and study around people talking about that your environment is actually more important than your culture, because it has a huge effect on how the cells in your body operate, which then determines your thoughts, because that's what they are. This is ancient stuff. This isn't anything new. This is ancient. Old. I know, right? I know. I can see a few atamayas there, people getting light bulb moments. I know. And I knew that this was the message to start talking about tonight. I knew it. But it is. So when people say, you're not your thoughts, you're not a bad person, they're right. You're not your thoughts. You're the Kairua. Hello. Hey. And when you're able to move away from the self, because a lot of people, when they say, and this is an old saying, but people have used it in movies and romanticized it, but you are a slave to yourself. Your cells, yourself, tell you when to cover them up. Hey, they let you know when it's cold. You go and get a jacket, because your cells are telling you, I need to be warm. Hey. You are a slave to yourself until you become your higher self. Then you are out. Hey, then it's time to move on. And yeah, some people do. They move on. Sometimes it takes people a long time to get that, because there is a lot of distraction out there. There's lots of distractions, addiction, all of these sorts of things that take people off course. And no, you're not your ego. Ego is another part, and we'll get to that one at another time, but definitely, that is definitely something that we'll talk about, because the ego has always been looked at as in a negative. And that's because people perceive it in that, which is why people practice it in that. But the ego actually can be an awesome power to use. But, oh my god, yes. Kia ora, Jean. Aye. And so, what we talked about before, the kairua, with the sight and the vision and the speaking, and the hearing, when your eyes and ears and mouth drop off into the grave, those are the senses that you are left with. It's because it's immortal, it is. All you leave with is your knowledge and those senses. Death is an illusion, people. Wake up, come on. It's just an illusion. It really is. You just evolve and transform. Does the butterfly really come back to see the caterpillar? Aye. And the caterpillar will look at the butterfly like it's something totally different and not even know what it is. It doesn't look like what it looked like when it sees its buddies around or when it last looked in the mirror. Aye. So it's that. Alright, girl. But when you're in that being side, you want to have your affirmations ready, girl. You want to have all your fabulousness ready to park up in your being. Aye. So that you speak in your being and you don't just speak noise. Hey, and go to that place. Affirm to yourself, I am love, I am light, I am knowledge, I am fabulous, I am worthy, I am of value. I do, I can be this, I can be that. I'm anything I want to be. That's the space you do it in, and then it'll start working its way out. Absolutely stunning. So I really wanted to share that with you tonight because it's a muscle that has gone unexercised, darling. Aye. And you know what? Probably spiritually, I'm ripped with the 10-pack, darling. And thighs the size of water cylinders. You know, goodness gracious. But I tell you, taking, in my message tonight though, with that, is take it. And enjoy the life that you have here. Be happy. But understand where you really are. And how valuable you really are. Hey. And that's my departing message tonight, was that. Enjoy your life. But understand that. And honestly, nothing can touch you after that, girl. Nothing. Nothing will even step close to you. It can't. And then when you get to the fullness of your enlightenment, boom, then you become a god. Hey. You realize that you are divinity defined. You are a star, a part of a law, and that you're light. So I just want to thank everybody for jumping on tonight. And I feel like 20 pounds lighter now that I finally got that out. In my beingness, needing to get this message out, and I hope that it sat well for someone out there. And knowing your value, knowing what is of value, real value. Not to remain a slave to the self. And also, when people talk about the internal healer, that's when the kairua talks to the self, to the cells, and actually communicates, and they respond and start operating. And they talk about people that have self-healed, have gone through cancers and terminal illnesses and come out on the other side. That's where they go to. They go to here. They go to that. So I want to leave that with you, relations. And I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Please feel free to go back, watch this video again. This message is for you. Remember that you are able to talk without even moving your mouth. And that your cells can respond to other people. And that's just another little trick thing for people to understand is like, you know, when you've got those whānau around, and because you've got that connection or friends, and you can look at each other and talk without even talking, it's the cells communicating from each other and then creating the thought or the understanding or the perception. Kia ora for that. So stick close, relations. Thank you guys for joining me tonight, and I'll see you guys later. Ka kite and good night. Oh, goodness. Where's the thing?